Good morning, life changers. Happy Tuesday. I hope it is a beautiful day wherever you are, because it sure is a beautiful day here in Florida. Today, I want to talk about labels that we give ourselves. So it's interesting. I was listening to this podcast yesterday, and they were talking about the girl who was being interviewed talked about how she hates perfectionist labels and how all these people gave her these labels as a child, and now she's dealing with all that or whatever. And the interviewer was like, "Oh, so should I not tell my little son that he's perfect anymore?" She's like, "I always look at him and I just say, 'Oh, you're perfect.'" And she said, like, or maybe it wasn't her son, maybe it was like a friend's kid or something. I don't know if she has kids, but she said that her dad used to say that to her all the time, and it made her proud to be like, because he would say, you're absolutely perfect. And the girl being interviewed was like, "Oh yeah, don't say that, don't ever do that." And I just think that it's really interesting how we can be so defined by how other people label us. And I've definitely fallen victim to this. I'm not immune to this, but it's something that I'm working away from. Because yes, these people throughout our lives will give us titles. They could say, "Oh, you're such a perfectionist," or "Oh, you're such a goody-goody," or like, "Oh, troublemaker there." Yeah, all these people are giving us labels constantly. And we can choose to define them, to let them define us. And then if we do choose to let them define us, we can choose to place blame on others, or we can choose to overcome that. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today, because it doesn't matter the labels that you've been given. And I think the longer you hold on to blaming the people that gave you those labels, the longer you're going to wait to overcome that label. Because the truth is, with any label, it doesn't matter what the people have said to you. It matters how you deal with what's been given to you. So for me, for example, if I were to continue to blame all of my labels of my past, I would label myself as shameful, or I would blame someone for giving me that label of shame, or I don't know. There's just so many things out there that all of these people can tell us throughout our lives. And I just honestly think that it doesn't matter what they've said, and stop worrying about, if my mom just did this differently, or if those kids in school only didn't blah, blah, blah. Because the thing is, that shaped who you are. Yeah, maybe you grew up feeling like a perfectionist, and it helps you to understand what perfect is, and hopefully you've come to a place in your journey where you understand that perfect is not completely possible. However, you, in everything that you do, are as perfect as you can be. Perfect is an unattainable word, but it doesn't mean that we can't give our best. I don't know if any of this makes sense today, but I just know, because I heard that podcast, and I know I have a few friends that feel the same way, that they're defined by these labels. And I just think that these labels are insane. They don't need to define us. They can get lost. And in fact, I also think that you can call a baby perfect, because if they're perfect in your eyes, it's not that you have to meet up to this expectation of perfection. It's that if you call something perfect, you see that it is absolutely beautifully perfect in the way that God designed it, even in its imperfections. I mean, you can pick any flower in the bunch, and there's going to be an imperfection, but it doesn't mean that it's not perfectly beautiful the way that God designed it to be. And I think that's exactly who you are. I think you are perfectly beautiful the way that God designed you to be. You are perfectly beautiful with your imperfections. So you're perfect. And don't let that be a label that frightens you or causes you anxiety. And don't blame me for telling you you're perfect. And don't blame your parents, and don't blame your sister. Don't blame anybody. Because if that affects you, the only person that is responsible for that affecting you is you. And you can choose to embrace that, to overcome it, or to succumb to it. So it's your choice. All right, well, Sarah, you just joined, you just missed it. Well, we still have the affirmation. You'll have to rewatch. Okay, so the affirmation today is, I am worthy. I am perfect in my imperfection. I am perfectly beautiful the way that God designed me, imperfections and all. And I am overcoming, not succumbing. I am overcoming any labels of my past. I'm taking responsibility for the way that they affect me, and I am overcoming the labels of my past. All right, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining. As always, God, thank you for this beautiful platform and this amazing area. I loved, like, the sun was like shining in perfectly. Now it's very bright, but it went behind the clouds for a minute while I did this. So anyway, thank you guys for joining. I will see you tomorrow. Cheers. And